All right. I appreciate you guys coming out today. Okay. Real quick before I get going and introduce myself, we're going to talk for about 35 minutes here. I'm going to tell you some stories from my career and things I've learned over the course of it. And then I'll leave 10 or 15 minutes for questions at the end. I think maybe the best way to handle questions is to have people, if you do have a question throughout the presentation, is type it in the chat and ask it. And then I'll scan through at the end or even maybe during the presentation and pick out some stuff, to answer that I think are good questions. All right. Keep in mind, there are no bad questions. Okay. This is a day for learning. We want you to get the most possible out of these presentations. So ask away, whatever you got, it won't bother me. All right, the playbook, okay? Real quick, so my name is Matt Goldsmith. I'm the head basketball coach here at TCNJ for men's hoops. Okay, I've been here for 5 years, going into my 6th. And prior to that, I've had some pretty cool experiences. So I went to Amherst College as a player, and I was assistant coach up there as well. While playing and coaching up there, I was fortunate enough to win 2 Division III national championships in basketball, one as a player, one as a coach. In addition to that, I volunteered with 2 gold medal winning USA basketball teams, one under 19 team and one men's national team, meaning the team with, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, guys like that, coached by Coach K. And then last year, that's what this picture is. We were really fortunate. We won the first conference championship for men's basketball here at TCNJ in 22 years. And with leadership, everything I've ever learned from leadership, about leadership, is from other people, from watching other people or through my own failures as a leader myself. Okay, I've been super lucky to be around some legendary leaders. The guy I worked for and played for at Amherst College won almost 1,000 games. He's one of the winningest college basketball coaches in any level. Okay. Coach K was the head coach of the USA basketball team. Billy Donovan, who was the Thunder coach and now the Bulls, was the head coach of the under 19 team. And I played for a legendary baseball coach in high school. So I've been really fortunate to be around great leaders and learn from them. Okay, so we're going to start this off with a quick poll. All right. When you enter a room, are you 100% confident you are the smartest there? And we'll just give you a little bit to answer. Great. A lot of activity here. Okay, good. A couple guys haven't answered, but that's fine. Okay, a majority of people are saying no. There's a few yeses out there. So here's what I would say. Oh, I can share the results. Look at this. I'm learning about Zoom as we speak. Okay, here's what I'll say. If you think you're the smartest person in every single room, you can probably just leave the presentation, because you're going to be pretty successful in whatever you do if that is the case. Now, if it isn't the case that you're the smartest person in every room you enter in, then leadership and how to use it is probably the most important skill you can have in a group, in your future careers, in whatever aspect of your life. Okay, it happens every day, everywhere, and in every business. In any group setting, leaders will emerge. Okay, and the lessons we're about to go through will help you gain more responsibility in whatever group you might be in, whether that's a club, team, your summer job, your job you currently have, your future career. And if you follow it, you'll eventually get into a leadership position within that group of people. I tried really hard to pick things that are universal, no matter what you're trying to achieve. Okay. So again, if you're the smartest in the room, I won't be offended if you guys just leave. Okay, so it's important to start here. What is leadership? Okay, what does it really mean? So, and for my definition, the one I view, the ability to influence is really what leadership comes down to. Thoughts, feelings, and actions of other people. Now, those can be good or bad. Okay, leaders can influence you in a negative direction. Leaders can influence you in a positive direction. But there's nothing more powerful than the ability to influence. And really, that's what leadership comes down to at its core, is can you influence the people around you? Okay. And I truly believe that if you pick up some things from the following slides, you'll be able to influence groups that you're in. Okay. Good. So second poll here. Do you think that leaders are born or made? There's a lot of arguments about this. There's theories on both sides. Again, there are no wrong answers. There's just my opinion on the matter and how you think about it. Okay. All right, good. So most of us think they're made. Great. I agree. I think if you think that leaders are born, then you better feel that you were born a leader. Because what's the point of being in a conversation like this or attending a conference like this? I truly believe leaders are made. Okay. It is a skill like any other skill. It's something that if you work hard at and you get repetitions at, you can become better at. Okay. So with hard work, I think anyone can be a leader. Again, the skills that we're going to talk about after this, the lessons I've learned, are things that anyone can do and anyone can take pride in. Okay, so I truly believe leaders are made. Again, there's theories on both sides, but it's kind of in my opinion, the people who think leaders are born, it's kind of a depressing way to look at it. So you're just born a leader or not. I don't know. I don't agree with that. Okay, good. And before we get into the actual lessons we're going to talk about, okay, just a quote. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. Okay, I think that this quote hits on a lot of different pieces to leadership. Okay, I think that, in my opinion, it is impossible to be a great leader without knowing yourself and your values. What do you truly care about? Okay. How can you be authentic as a leader if you don't know what those values are? All right. Like anything else in the world, figuring this stuff out takes time and deliberate thought. You have to actually sit down and think about it. Okay. For a lot of years, when I first, got into leadership positions, I would try to lead like the leaders I had seen and just kind of repeat what they did. And I was fine, but I was never great until I kind of embraced myself, my own style, and my leadership. Okay. And again, this is something that doesn't just happen either. I struggle with this daily. I'm sure all of us do. In the time of social media and everything out there, you're always comparing yourself to others in business or in life. Okay. Don't compare. Just be you. Okay. It's hard. You got to think about it. It's very difficult. Okay. And a great way to think about authentic leadership is the phrase, you know it when you see it. All of you have probably had leaders where you saw through the BS, you saw through the fake. And you've also probably had leaders that you could tell they were being authentic in what they were doing. You want to be that person, that authentic leader. Okay. So understanding yourself. There are great resources out there to try to figure out and help you understand yourself, the characteristics you value, and your strengths. Okay. One of my favorites is the VIA assessment Okay. Again, it's on viacharacter.org. Okay. It's free. It's something that's super quick, takes 20 minutes. You answer some questions and they'll kick back your top 5 character strengths. And once you know what your strengths are, you can put yourself in a position to really emphasize them and use them. And that'll help lead to long-term success in life as well as in leadership. Okay. For me, my strengths are kindness, curiosity, hope. Okay. I'm an eternal optimist, social intelligence, and luckily leadership. Okay. So check it out. Even if leadership isn't one of your top 5 character strengths, you can still be a great leader. Okay. Good. Now, we'll get into the heart of the presentation. Again, I'll be telling some stories throughout. But if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat or wait till the end, whatever you want, and I'll get to them. Okay. So these are my 5 rules of leadership, and I have kind of a quick story on each rule and how I kind of learned it. Usually the stories, again, are either I watched a great leader execute it or I screwed up pretty badly and learned the hard way. But either way, that's the way you learn. So don't worry about that. Everybody screws up. Okay. So rule number 1, first things first. Okay. You have to do these things prior to starting your leadership journey. Okay. Develop a clear sense of where the ship is pointed before we start rowing the boat. Okay. So where do we want to go? If you are the leader of a club or a group or a team, where do you want that team to end up when your leadership ends? Okay. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to bring with you? Okay. And ask the question why about both those questions. Why are we going there? Why do we want to go there? Why do we want to bring these types of people versus these other types of people? Okay. It's super important to do this before, as early in the leadership process as possible. And again, it's great that you're doing this conference this week because this will help you guys. But when you prioritize figuring these things out, every decision you make as a leader can fall back on these initial thoughts you have about the group and where we want to go and who we want to bring. Because when tough questions come up, when tough circumstances come up, you have to have a framework to make those decisions from. And if you do this before you get into those tough situations, the decisions become so much easier to make. Okay. Again, I think you have to be deliberate about this. Okay. Really sit down and think about it. And again, it's uncomfortable in our time with how many different things you can be doing at one time. It's uncomfortable to sit down in your thoughts and really think about the club you're running or the group you're running or the activities you care about and would like to take a bigger leadership role in. Okay. And think through those things and decide where you want to take it or where you want to go with it. Okay. And again, the who do we want to bring? I think this one is such an important question, right? What type of people do you want to surround yourself with? Even if you're not a leader, okay, you want to surround yourself with people that inspire you to be better than you are currently. And sometimes those are hard decisions to make. Okay. How much do you when you are leading a group, we all know those very talented individuals that might be hard to work with. Everyone's different. As a leader, do you want to get the most talent around you and you'll figure out the character stuff? Or do you want higher character people, easier to work with people that may be a little less talented? And that decision is up to each individual leader. Okay, for me, character was really important. So when I first came here as the head coach at TCNJ 5 years ago, I was 28 years old, 29 years old. I had never been head coach of anything. Okay, and the vision we set because of the history I had in basketball, was we want to win a national championship. And what we decided was the way we're going to get there is by recruiting what we call uncommon people. We say be uncommon in our program. Okay. People with extraordinary work ethics. That's what we prioritized. All right. And that's who we wanted to be with us. Right. And I screwed this up a ton. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that in practice? I don't know. Okay. I don't know. And a great story for this first things first message is, in 2013, I was fortunate enough to help coach our team to a national championship in Division III. And we were about a week out from the national championship game. And we hadn't had much adversity that year. We were playing really, really well throughout the season. We were number one in the country. Okay. And we had a freshman who was as talented as they come, but, wasn't always focused and didn't always have a clear path of where he wanted to go. And his natural talent took him places. And we came into practice on a Monday and he was screwing around to start the practice. And again, I worked for a great coach, Coach Hickson. And before practice even began, he called this kid out and he said, listen, we are trying to win a national championship next Sunday. What your behavior is doing is not helping us get there. Get out of the gym. And on a Monday, on a freshman who was our sixth man that year, he kicked him out of practice. Now, was that a hard decision for him? I don't think it was, because he knew where we were going and he knew who we wanted to bring. Flash forward a week later, and Greeny has double-digit points off the bench and played a huge role in helping us win the national championship. But I don't think he does that without getting kicked out of practice on that Monday. So a hard decision became really simple because he knew where he wanted to go. All right. Lesson number one. Good. Number two. All right. Every day over the big moments. Again, it's hard to tell you just how important this mindset is in life, in leadership, in achieving anything you want to achieve. And what I have here on this page, on this slide, are some examples of phrases we use in our program to help remind us of that. Okay. And before we even get into those phrases, so many people misunderstand leadership in that they think, because of the movies or this or whatever, that leadership is about some big speech or some big moment. And that's where leaders truly emerge. But that couldn't be more wrong. Leadership is about everyday events. Okay. You must earn trust from the people you lead and you work with by being consistent every single day and taking care of those little things. Those little things will lead to big results. So some phrases we use: sweep the sheds. Okay. This is a reminder when you talk about your room, the kitchen, the bathroom, whatever it might be. Okay. It gets dirty every single day. Okay. You have to sweep every day or else the dust will come back. All right. So a little reminder: sweep the sheds. Take your vitamins. Okay. The other way I say this is brush your teeth. Okay. If you don't take your vitamins or brush your teeth every day, you're going to get sick or you're going to get cavities. Okay. I tried to find dentist memes online over the weekend. It's harder than you think. This is the one I got. Okay. But really think about it, right? It's about the everyday. If you don't brush your teeth every day and you show up to the dentist and you say, well, you guys clean my teeth. Why do I have to do it every day? Okay. You're going to get cavities. Your teeth are going to be poor. It's the same thing with this entire week. So you're all in this Zoom because you care about leadership and you want to learn about it. So this Zoom, this week, this conference is your dentist appointment for the year. But what are you going to do when this conference ends? Are you going to keep brushing your teeth and taking your vitamins? Are you going to keep, reading about leadership? asking people about leadership, putting yourself in leadership positions and challenging yourself in that way. Okay, so that's super important. All right, and then the next phrase here: what you say, you do. What you say, you do. Again, it's hard for me to emphasize how important that is. If you say you're going to do something, you do it. It sounds simple. It sounds easy. It sounds silly. So many people screw this up, and I screwed it up. Okay, when you do what you say you're going to, you are consistent, and when you are consistent, you earn trust, and when you earn trust, you earn more responsibility from your boss, from your team, from whoever. Okay, the only way to develop trust is through consistent behaviors and consistent actions. Okay, have you ever been around those people who one day they bring great energy, the next day they're super negative? Okay, and you have no idea what you're going to get out of them. You can't rely on them. They're wild cards, right? You just can't rely on them. You don't know. So do your best to be consistent. Everybody goes through bad days. Everybody goes through bad moments. Okay, but can you bring that same energy even on a bad day? I think you can. That is a core belief of mine, is that you can bring great energy no matter how your day is going. Okay. So the way I learned this was a tougher lesson for me. So my first year as an assistant coach in college, I was the low man on the totem pole. And one day in the fall, we were just kind of screwing around and talking about the next day, just chatting. And somebody brought up that it'd be nice if we brought in donuts and coffee the next day for the whole staff. And kind of in jest, in a joking manner, I was an assistant coach. I was making no money. I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it, kind of as a joke, right? Well, I showed up the next day and my head coach asked me, where are the donuts? And I didn't have them. I thought it was just a joke. I thought it was something different. I didn't know. And it took me months, and another story, which we'll get to later in this presentation, to regain his trust. So if you say something, you do it. And it doesn't matter how small that action is. Getting a thing of munchkins from Dunkin' Donuts affected my relationship with my boss for multiple weeks, for 6 to 8 weeks, where he didn't trust me enough to give me the tough things. Okay, so what you say, you do. Again, can't emphasize how important that is. Okay, good. Communication is key. So I have another poll here. This is the last one, I promise. All right, we'll launch poll. Who is the most important person in a conversation? The person giving the message, doing the talking, or the person receiving the message? Okay, listening. All right. Good. We'll wait a little bit longer here. Who is the most important person in a conversation? The person doing the talking or the person receiving the message? All right. All right, we'll share these results here. Okay, so we had 9 people say the person giving the message, and we had 24 say the person receiving. In my opinion, it is 100% the person receiving the message. Okay, and that's why communication is so important. So a phrase I always rely on in terms of communication is words matter, honesty matters more, delivery matters most. As a leader and a coach, what you say to the people you lead matters. The words you choose matter. In relationships, the words you choose matter. With your friends that you live with your parents, with your siblings, whoever it might be. The words you choose matter. So that's first and foremost. Before you speak, make sure you think and you choose the words you want to and you want to say. All right. Now, honesty matters more than the words you choose. So if you were going to say whatever, and maybe it comes out in a poor way, if it's the truth and it's honest, you can still get something out of that conversation. You can still move forward with the group you are leading, with the people you care about. Okay. So if you choose bad words, but you're honest, okay, you can get places. So honesty matters more, but delivery matters most. And why delivery matters most is because if I'm super honest with a player, but he walks out of that conversation angry at me because of how I delivered it, the conversation was useless, right? So if I scream at someone or yell at someone, and that the statement I'm making needs to be made at the time, but they don't respond well to being yelled at, well, guess what? That was a useless waste of time moment in your leadership because nobody got better and nobody improved. Okay. And I learned this story. I learned this honesty piece and the delivery piece when I was working for Coach K and the USA basketball team, the men's national team. We were in Manhattan. We were playing a tune-up against Puerto Rico before leaving for the World Championships. Okay. And Coach K, famous coach from Duke. All right. He's the head coach. His assistant, one of them is Tom Thibodeau. Tibbs, he just took over the New York Knicks, if you guys are basketball fans. Okay. And he's a defense guy. So Tibbs is watching practice before we're playing Puerto Rico, and he hates what he sees. And we're talking about Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan. I mean, we're talking about superstars in the league. Klay Thompson, superstars. Okay. And Tibbs is under his breath just losing it. And I'm sitting behind the coaching staff because for that group, I was just basically a glorified towel guy. I ran around. I cleaned up sweat. I would do the laundry. I'd make sure the water was filled, whatever they needed. Okay. So at the time, I was like a 27-year-old towel guy. Okay. And he's going crazy. And Coach K turns to him and just says, Tibbs, just look him in the eye and tell him the truth. There's no point in mumbling over here. Okay. I don't care who they are, how important they are, how much money they make. Look them in the eye and tell them the truth. So he walks out, he blows his whistle, he walks out in the middle of the court, and he kind of rips into these guys who, make hundreds of millions of dollars, are as famous can be, and he just crushes them. Well, guess what? Tells the truth. He looks him in the eye. He delivers it the way it needed to be delivered at the time. Practice gets better, and they go on to win the gold medal, a few weeks later. Okay, so words matter. Honesty matters more, and delivery matters most. Okay, and then the next piece of communication is this bottom piece. Never assume, ask questions first. Again, I had to learn this as a head coach the hard way. Okay, so in my first year here at TCNJ, I was pretty hard and fast about showing up on time. We still are. We think showing up on time really matters. Okay, 5 minutes early is on time, right? Well, we're starting practice. It's the middle of the season, and one of our players isn't there. He's not in the gym. Nobody can get in touch with him. Nobody knows where he is. Okay, kid's late. Well, if somebody's late for me, that means the team has to have consequences. Okay, actions lead to consequences. So we start running, and we start running sprints. All right. About 12 minutes go by, and the kid shows up. He gets there. And I'm steaming at the ears. I'm losing it. I'm so upset that this guy's late. We're starting to play well. The last thing we need is to be distracted by this guy sleeping through his alarm. So I just assume the worst. I go right into it. I assume that his phone wasn't charged. He slept through it. He ignored it. Okay. He didn't want to show up on time, and I'm losing it. And I go right in on him. Okay. Upset. And I noticed quickly that I screwed up because he's upset. He's not only upset that he's late, he's upset something's going on. Okay. His brother had become very sick and had to be taken to the hospital. So now I feel like a jerk because I just ripped this kid and he's going through a difficult situation in his life. And not only that, I just made our entire team run sprints for 10, 15 minutes. Now we're tired. Our practice is going to stink because I assumed what happened rather than waited and asked questions. Okay. So always ask questions first. Don't assume the worst. Okay. Ask questions. Ask questions. When you're a leader, questions are one of the best things you can use as a teaching tool. Okay. Ask questions. That's how you know whether that person is really absorbing what you're trying to teach, is by asking questions. So as a leader, I think it's so important on our practice sheet every day. On the top of my practice sheet says, ask questions first. Ask questions at first. Don't assume. Okay. In basketball, in the basketball world, somebody does something that you don't exactly want. Ask them why they did it. Don't just assume they're doing it because they disagree with you. Because usually sometimes they have great answers and maybe your ideas can change and you can adjust and you can evolve. Okay. Good. Number 4, give in order to get. All right. Give in order to get. And what that means is if you want something out of somebody as a leader, you have to give it to them first. You have to take the first step in the relationship building process. So one of the most important things you can do as a leader in a group is build relationships with the individuals in your group. Okay. But we've all been in groups or on teams or in classrooms or whatever it might be where we did not like the person that we have to lead or be in a group with. Okay. How do you build relationships with those people? All right. So again, if you want respect, you give respect. If you want vulnerability, you should show it through a story of your own. If you want buy-in, you must demonstrate as the leader buy-in. Okay. If you want hard work from a team, be an example to the team. If you want sacrifice, you should sacrifice something. Okay. So if you're going into the office or these days, and you're the boss somewhere and you want everyone to be safe, with COVID going on, and you ask everyone to wear a mask, well, you better wear a mask too. Okay. Even if you're giving a speech or you don't want it or it's uncomfortable, whatever it might be, you better wear that thing too. Okay. And again, I learned this one the hard way. All right. Before I became a college basketball coach, I was a baseball and basketball coach at a high school, an assistant, and I worked for a legendary coach. He's won tons of state championships in New Jersey in baseball and hockey, Bruce Chattel. And I was coaching this kid. He was our shortstop, young gun. He was the best player I had ever coached as a baseball player. He already had a full scholarship offer to an ACC school. He was only a sophomore in high school. And he was good. He was really good, but he knew it. And he was kind of a jerk. He was a little tough to coach sometimes for me. Okay. And so one day I tell him something to do and he snaps back at me and says, no, I'm not going to do that. And I lose it. I had a temper and I go crazy. Okay. And after practice, Coach Chattel pulls me to the side and said, Goldie, what happened there? What were you doing? And I said, that kid doesn't respect me. I don't know what else to do. The only way to, is I got to yell at him. He's got to respect my authority. I'm the coach. He's the player. He's got to respect it. Right. And he looks at me and he says, Goldie, every single player on that field can tell you don't like him when you try to coach him. Do you respect him? And that really hit me over the head. Because I didn't respect him. I wasn't treating him respectfully. So very quickly thereafter, I apologized for my actions. I explained why I was saying what I wanted to say. And I told him, listen, man, I know you're a great player and you're really, really gifted, but you're going to be better if you allow us to coach you. And we started developing a relationship. Okay. And that's how those relationships started. So again, learning it the hard way. Okay. It's not, you can't just be authoritarian just because you have the title on your name, leader. Okay. Good. Last lesson here, own it. Okay. Ownership is so important. You have to own your energy, your actions. Okay. Bringing good energy into the room is completely up to you, no matter how your day is going. Okay. Taking blame for negative outcomes as a leader is how you gain trust. You know, a classic coaching phrase is, the wins are because of the players and the losses are on me. Okay. The losses are on me. All right. And another quick story here for this one is, so I forgot the donuts for coach my first year as an assistant. Okay. I forgot the donuts. 2 months go by and we're talking in the office one day and coach says, tomorrow, one of the things we got to get done is we got to clean up the gym. We had hosted a big event. The gym was gross looking and we wanted to take pride in our space. So we had to go down and clean it up. We said, okay, sounds good, coach. Well, let's do it. And we come in the next day and all 3 assistants are in the office. Coach Hickson's in the office and coach walks out and doesn't say much. And he kind of disappears for, a couple hours. And we don't know what's going on. Maybe he's in a meeting. Maybe not. We're not sure. But we're all in our own heads and we're doing work. So we keep working. He comes up steaming. He is so upset with us. And we said, Coach, where you been? He said, I've just been cleaning the gym by myself for 2 hours. Where have you been? And the other 2 assistants I worked with at the time, they started laughing. They blamed each other, said, well, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. I didn't know you had left. You didn't say anything. Right. And in a lot of ways, that's his own fault. Why didn't he tell us he was going down to the gym? And what I did, I looked him in the eye and said, Coach, you're 100% right. I should have been down there. No excuses. That's my bad. Okay. We talked about it yesterday. I should have figured it out when you weren't in the office for that long. I apologize. So I took responsibility over the screw up. And from the donuts and losing trust to taking the responsibility, I just gained his trust 100,000%. So for the rest of that season, now if he really needed something, he was coming to me because he knew that if I screwed it up, I wasn't going to pass the blame. I wasn't going to send it somewhere else. I was going to take it on myself. I was going to accept it as my own fault. Okay. So when you're in the workforce and you screw up, okay, do not try to deny it, to blame others, to complain. Don't get defensive, okay? Accept it for what it is and own it. Own your mistakes, okay? Own your actions. Take accountability. Own your energy, okay? And listen, you're going to fail. Failure is inevitable. Don't be afraid of it. I failed a million times. That's how I learn all these. That's how I've learned the lessons. And guess what? I will fail a million more times. All of us will in this meeting, okay? And, I added on here the pictures of my twins. So my wife and I, we just had twins. And this is Piper, the girl, and Finn. And we just had twins. And I don't think anything teaches you more about leadership than twins and being a parent to twins. If your energy is negative, they have a bad day. Okay. And you can learn things from babies too. When they're trying to learn something, they just keep trying. Right? At some point in our lives, we get scared of failure. But when we were first born, we didn't care. Okay. If we were trying to walk and we fell over, we just kept going. If we were trying to get food into our mouth and we kept missing, we just kept doing it and we put food all over our face. It didn't matter. Okay. So regain that, that thought process that we all have when we're first born. Okay. It doesn't matter if you screw up, just keep trying. Okay. Keep trying, especially in leadership. All right. Good. And again, that's most of the presentation here. If you take one thing from this, it should be this. Anyone can be a leader with the right mindset. It takes hard work, just like anything else. If you eventually want to be a leader, you work on the things we just talked about. I am 100% sure that you'll be given that role. Okay. And, talking about roles is really important in leadership too. I can't tell you how many times, guys who get named captains of our team now assume they're a leader because they have a title. versus behaving like a leader every day. There are big differences. Just because you're named a leader or you have, you guys all know this, you've been coached or taught or been in clubs with people who thought they were the leaders of that group, but did not behave in that way. So having that title versus actually behaving and taking ownership over being a leader are two very different things. But anyone can do it if you work at it. Okay, anyone can do it if you work at it. All right, so that's everything I got. If anyone has any questions or anything they want me to follow up on, I'm happy to answer them now. You can shoot them in the chat if you want. Okay, I'll give you some time here. Okay, questions. And then in addition, if any follow-up questions you guys might have for the future, just email me here at TCNJ, okay? GOLDSMIM@tcnj.edu. I'm always around. For me, I love basketball. I love being a coach in that sport, but I do it to help people. So if anyone listening today needs anything or has a question about leadership in any way, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to help. Okay. Got it here. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. QR code. I can share the QR code for whoever needs it. One sec. Okay. Are there any other questions out there? So thank you. Appreciate it, guys. Again, it's my pleasure. If you have anything or have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Really happy you guys all came. I hope you got something out of it. If anything, some of the habits and behaviors I think that are important to leadership are just as important in everyday life and will help lead to success in your life if you follow them. So, hope you get something out of it. If you just take one lesson, that's good enough. Okay. I appreciate it. So that's all I got. Enjoy the rest of these presentations. And again, it's not just like going to the dentist. You got to brush your teeth every day. If you want to be a great leader, okay, keep working on it. Okay. This conference is your dentist appointment for the year, but we got to keep working on it when the conference ends and keep it on the front of your mind and work on those behaviors. Okay. Really, really appreciate it, guys. Okay. And again, if you need anything, feel free to reach out anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You got it.